Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday and we know what that is. Croco Drinker. That was dumb presentation. Let's start greetings before we get into it. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'll be your host here.
Guy in the chair.
He said it! He said it!
So
You don't need me to tell you that 2025 has been a pretty disappointing year for movies, with back-to-back flops from Marvel, a Mission Impossible that kinda made me wish the franchise ended 2 movies ago, and a July that's shaping up to be a 3-way battle between a trio of movies that I couldn't care less about. But if there was one cause for optimism in the festering wasteland of Hollywood this year, it was 28 Years Later, the long-awaited sequel to 2002's 28 Days Later that would continue the story of survival in a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a viral outbreak. But Drinker, you booze-infected rage zombie, I hear you say, what about 28 weeks later? Just don't worry about it. Anyway, I know it's just come out and everyone's anxious to avoid spoilers, so I'm going to keep this review short and mostly spoiler-free. I'll give you a general sense of the plot without telling you how it ends or any of the major story beats, and make a few observations about the world building and characters without going into specifics. So with that in mind, let's get started, shall we? As the title suggests, the movie picks up 28 years after the rage virus outbreak. Britain is now under quarantine from the rest of the world, and the scattered groups of survivors are now holed up in isolated, heavily defended communities. One of these is on a small island just off the mainland, where our main character Spike is getting ready to go out on his first scouting mission with his dad, while his ailing mum struggles with a mysterious illness. For me, this is by far the best written and best directed part of the film, briskly establishing our main characters and fleshing out the state of the world, and building up the tension and anxiety to the point where I actually felt kind of uncomfortable at times. You're left in no doubt that venturing off the island for the first time is both an important rite of passage and a huge fucking deal for any young person. If you get into trouble or go missing while you're out there, nobody is going to come looking for you. It also introduces us to the new and improved infected, making it clear that the game has definitely changed now. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but the upshot is that the infected are now more than just mindless killing machines that are literally too stupid to even feed themselves. They now have a kind of primitive animalistic intelligence, roughly on par with teenage council estate girls from Glasgow. Mostly because I guess the writers had to account for how they've managed to survive this long. Anyway, Spike returns to the island to find his mum isn't doing too well at all, and when he learns of a reclusive doctor hidden away on the mainland, he decides this might be his one and only chance to help her. So the movie becomes a kind of post-apocalyptic road trip as Spike tries to guide and protect his increasingly ill mother through a very dangerous world in the vague hope of finding salvation at the ends. But will they make it to the doctor before it's too late? And even if they do, is he all that he seems to be? Now, there's a lot to praise about 28 Years Later, and one of the strongest aspects of the film is the way it balances gripping, visceral horror and poignant emotional character beats without feeling forced or contrived. Yeah, you could probably argue that the infected helpfully choose not to show up whenever the script wants to slow down and have some big character moments, but that's pretty much par for the course with most films like this. The evolving relationship between Spike and his two parents forms the backbone of this film, and it's interesting to see the contrast between them. The intense, serious, practical father-son relationship based around survival and cooperation, where there's no doubt about who leads the way and who's expected to follow, versus the tender, reflective and melancholy bond between him and his mum, where Spike more often than not has to take on the role of protector himself. Both have their merits, and thank fuck the movie doesn't try to make her into a tough-talking Hollywood girl boss. Credit to Jodie Comer as well for her work on this one. Everyone in this film gives superb performances, but Comer in particular crushes it as a woman wrestling with her own fears and demons while still trying to fill the role of a mother. Fuck knows what Americans are going to make of the extremely regional British accents though. Geordies are hard enough even for other Brits to understand, never mind people from the rest of the worlds.
Well, you didn't need to talk to me because you were effing and seeing that yesterday when I was kids. And I heard you. I heard you.
Right. When you get right down to it though, 28 Years Later is the story of a boy forced to become a man just a little too soon in a very harsh and unforgiving world. The painful lessons, failures, and tragedies that mold us from innocent children into fully realized adults. The melancholy sense of loss that comes with leaving behind who we once were to become who we need to be. And I think this is what Danny Boyle does so well with movies like this, balancing brutal survival and gory horror with moments of poignant, intimate character drama. It's a story of survival for sure, but it's really a story about humanity, who we choose to be when we're tested to our very limits, what we're forced to give up to stay alive, and what we manage to hold on to that makes survival even worth it. It's difficult for me to go into criticisms without spoiling the plot, but I will say that the film's narrative threads start to get a bit frayed towards the end. One character gets put on ice for the bulk of the film with no real explanation of what he's doing or why. There's a moment where a new character drops into the narrative that felt kind of contrived and didn't add a whole lot to the story. Other supposedly smart and experienced survivalists make rookie mistakes for the sake of some cheap and easy jump scares and a completely inexplicable decision when they encounter one of the infected that no character born into this world would ever consider. What can I say? If you know, you know. None of these criticisms are deal breakers, but they undermine what's generally a pretty smart and mature movie that takes itself very seriously. The ending leaves the narrative wide open for the next movie, and while I've definitely got thoughts about the Jimmy Savile lookalikes who show up in the last few minutes, my bigger concern is that the next film's being overseen by the same girl who directed Candyman and The Marvels. Yeah, we're kind of fucked, aren't we? Either way, no matter where it ends up going next, 28 Years Later is a solid horror survival story with a lot of heart behind it. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not on the same level as the first movie, but I didn't really expect it to be. And if you're a fan of the series or horror movies in general, you'll definitely find a lot here to appreciate. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all enjoyed what he had to say. I like scary movies and all that, but I prefer to watch at home. I don't like going to the big empty theaters. Nowadays, most theaters are empty. I like going with a crowd of people. Even the scary movies. They hear the gasp and everything, but they let them go. They'll do what they want to do. You spend your money how you want to spend it. It doesn't matter. It's a free country while it still is. But yeah, how you made this far, and like what you said, you want to see more, don't forget to like it and comment down below, and then finally to share and then subscribe. But I'll leave with this number right here. I hope you had an awesome night and the rest of your day as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.